you're out on a training ride, you want to refresh your water bottles or get some much needed refreshments inside, it's unlikely you're going to have the heavy duty, good quality locks which we featured in our last video. We would never ever recommend that you leave your pride and joy sat outside, unsecure and unattended, but if you have to get that caffeine hit, here are a few tips from GCN on how to make it that little bit more difficult for a thief to ride away with your bike. In that last video, I described this lock as pretty useless, and to be fair, it is against a well-prepared thief. It's only going to take them a matter of a second or two to cut through this and be away with your bike. But if you're planning on just stopping somewhere quiet in the country, that will give you that extra peace of mind that you wouldn't get if you just left your bike outside. One of the first things to consider when you go into a cafe is if they've got somewhere out the back that you can put your bike. That is preferable, much less likely for roaming public to see it out there. But if they haven't got that, bear in mind that it's nice if you can see your bike out the front. Make sure it's visible to you whilst you're making your order and whilst you're drinking your drink. One of the easiest things that you can do is simply to undo your quick releases, both at the front and at the back of your bike. Now for most thieves, they're not going to be noticing if they're undone, and it's going to make it pretty hard for them to ride off on your bike when they come along to try and nick it. Along with that, or separate to that, you can also unhinge the chain from the front chain rings. Just pick it up from the bottom, feed it around the bottom bracket shell. That way it's going to make it very hard for them to pedal off. And if you don't want to get your hands greasy by touching the chain or risk scratching the frame with your chain, then the alternative is to put it in the big ring on the front and one of the biggest gears here on the back, and then without pedaling it, go down with the STI levers on the front and back and leave it like that. We'll see what happens. Another very quick tip that you can use is to take your helmet and either use it to tie two bikes together or simply around a post like this. And as with all of the tips on this video, it really isn't going to stop a thief from taking your bike, but if you are sat inside the cafe in view of your bike, it's just to make it that little bit more difficult for a thief to ride away with your bike. Beyond that, it's just a lot of common sense really. Take any valuables off that are easy to take, for example a Garmin or SRM head unit, and put them in your back pocket so that nobody else can do exactly the same thing, leaving a very expensive gap on the front of your bike. Also, if you're out of a group, bear in mind that it's worth putting the most expensive bike against the wall and leaning the slightly cheaper ones up against it, making that one the hardest to get. If you've got any of your own tips, leave them in the comments section below this video.